Maybe they're just afraid, like everyone else who doesn't understand you." Before Zara could answer, the enemy ships began their attack. Beams of dark energy shot toward Jake's ship and Zara's broken vessel. "All ships, this is Captain Morrison," Jake said into his radio. "We're not running away. Zara, are you ready?" She looked at him with trust and determination. "What do you want me to do?" Jake smiled and took both of her hands in his. "Show them that the universe doesn't need more weapons. It needs more healers." The dark energy beams were almost upon them. "Together?" Jake asked. "Together," Zara replied. Her power flowed through both of them, but this time it felt different. It felt like hope. Touch of victory. The dark energy beams struck both ships with terrible force. Jake felt the impact throw him against the wall. Sparks flew everywhere as systems failed all around them. "Shields are gone." Officer Chen's voice crackled through the broken radio. "Hull damage on all sections." But Jake and Zara were still holding hands. Her power flowed between them like warm light. Instead of fighting back with weapons, Jake had a different plan. "Zara," he said, "can you feel their ships?" She closed her golden eyes and concentrated. "Yes, their energy is so cold and angry. They've been fighting for so long, they forgot how to do anything else." "Show them something different." Zara nodded. Together they reached out with her power, but instead of destroying the enemy ships, they did something no one expected. They began to heal them. The ancient black ships had been damaged by thousands of years of war. Their hulls were cracked, their systems were old and broken. Zara's healing energy flowed into their metal and circuits, making everything new again. "What is happening?" The ancient enemy leader's voice filled with confusion. "Our ships. They're being repaired." "We're not your enemy," Jake said into the communication system. "We don't want to fight you. Impossible. The weapon girl was made to destroy us." "She was," Jake replied, "but she chose to become something better. She chose to heal instead." On the enemy flagship, alarms were sounding. Their weapon systems were powering down. But strangely, their life support was getting better. Their engines were running smoother than they had in centuries. "Commander," one of the ancient beings said to their leader, "our energy readings are improving across the entire fleet. It's like our ships are becoming young again." The leader stared at his control panels in shock. "How is this possible?" Through the communication link, Jake's voice came again. "Because healing is stronger than hurting. Because building is better than breaking." Zara opened her eyes. Tears of joy ran down her silver cheeks. "Jake, I can feel it working. Their anger is becoming weaker. Their fear is going away." "That's because fear only grows in darkness," Jake said. "You're showing them the light." One by one, the enemy ships stopped firing. Their crews were amazed by what was happening. Ships that had been falling apart for ages were now working perfectly. Systems that had failed long ago were coming back to life. But more than that, something was changing in the hearts of the ancient beings themselves. The constant anger they had carried for 1,000 years was melting away. "Weapon girl," the enemy leader said, but his voice was softer now. "Why do you heal us instead of destroying us?" "Because my name is Zara," she replied, "and I choose to help, not hurt." "But we came here to kill you." "I know," Zara said. "But someone taught me that the best way to stop an enemy is to make them into a friend." Jake smiled. "My grandmother always said, you can't fight hate with more hate. You can only fight it with love." The ancient being was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was filled with wonder. "For 1,000 years, we have fought the Zephyrians because they created you as a weapon against us. We thought if we destroyed you, we could have peace. And now?" Jake asked. "Now I see that peace was never about destroying anything. It was about healing the things that were broken." Through their connection, Zara felt something beautiful happening. The ancient beings were remembering who they used to be before the war started. They were remembering love, hope, and kindness. "There is something else," the enemy leader said. "Our sensors show that your healing power is spreading beyond our ships. It's reaching our home worlds through our quantum communication links." Zara gasped. "What does that mean?" "It means," the ancient being said with amazement, "that you're healing our entire civilization. People who have been sick with war anger for generations are feeling peace for the first time." Jake squeezed Zara's hand. "You're not just healing their ships, you're healing their souls." The massive black ship moved closer, but not to attack. Its leader wanted to see these amazing beings who had given his people the greatest gift possible. "Zara of the humans," the ancient being said, "would you come to our worlds? Would you help us heal completely?" Zara looked at Jake. "Will you come with me?" "Always," Jake said. "That's what friends do." 6 months later, Zara stood in the medical center of Earth's biggest space station. Human children who were sick came to her every day. She would touch them gently with her glowing hands, and they would become healthy again. She was no longer called the Cursed One. Now, beings from across the galaxy called her the Healer, and everywhere she went, Jake went with her. "Thank you," she said to Jake as they watched the little human girl run to her parents, completely cured of her illness. "For what?" Jake asked. "For being the first human who wasn't afraid to touch me." Jake smiled and took her hand in his. "Thank you for showing the universe that different isn't dangerous. It's just different." And in the stars above them, former enemies worked together to build a new kind of galaxy. One where healing was more important than hurting. One where touching someone could save the universe. All because one human captain chose compassion over fear. "Chen," Jake said into his radio, "tell them we need more time." "Sir, they're charging their weapons." "What are your orders?" Jake looked into Zara's golden eyes one more time. "Tell them," Jake said, "that humans don't give up their friends." Standing ground. The alien warships moved closer to Jake's rescue ship. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. On the communication screen, an alien commander appeared. His face was hard and cold. "Human captain," the commander said, "you have 5 minutes to give us the Cursed One. If you refuse, we will destroy your ship." Jake stood on his bridge, looking at the 5 massive warships surrounding them. His small rescue ship was no match for them, but he had made his choice. "I told you already," Jake said firmly. "Humans don't give up their friends." The alien commander's eyes grew angry. "That creature is not your friend. She is death itself. She has killed more beings than you can count. She's not a creature. Her name is Zara. Names don't matter for monsters." Jake felt his crew watching him. He knew they were scared. He was scared too. But fear wouldn't make him abandon someone who needed help. "Then you'll have to go through us," Jake said. The communication ended. The alien warships began to charge their weapons. "Sir," Officer Chen said quietly, "should I call for backup?" "There's no time," Jake replied. "Prepare for battle. All power to shields." "Sir," Dr. Stevens said, "maybe we should think about this. 5 ships against 1. Would you want me to abandon you if you were in trouble?" Jake asked. Dr. Stevens looked down. "No, sir." "Then we fight." The first energy blast hit their shields. The whole ship shook. Sparks flew from control panels. Jake held onto his chair as another blast struck them. "Shields down to 60%. Chen reported. "Return fire," Jake ordered. Their small weapons shot back at the alien ships, but barely scratched their thick armor. Another blast hit them, stronger this time. Shields down to 30%. Jake knew they couldn't win this fight, but he wouldn't give up. That wasn't the human way. On Zara's broken ship, she felt every blast through the metal walls. She knew Jake's crew was dying because of her, just like everyone else who tried to help her. "I can't let this happen," she whispered to herself. Zara stood up and began walking toward the hole in her ship's wall. She would surrender herself to save these brave humans. It was the only right thing to do, but as she moved, her emotions grew stronger. Fear, sadness, and guilt filled her heart. The energy in her body began to pulse faster and faster. "No, not now," she said, trying to control herself. But it was too late. Her power burst out like a wave of lightning. It traveled through both ships, shorting out systems and making lights flicker. On Jake's ship, the power went out completely. Emergency lights turned on, casting everything in red shadows. "What was that?" Chen asked. "It came from the other ship," Dr. Stevens said, checking his readings. "The Cursed One, I mean Zara, her energy levels just went crazy." Jake's heart sank. If Zara couldn't control her powers, his ship would be destroyed from the inside instead of from the outside. He made a quick decision. "Chen, you have the bridge. I'm going back to the other ship." "Sir, no. It's too dangerous." But Jake was already running toward the airlock. He had to reach Zara before her powers destroyed everything. He flew through space in his rescue suit, moving as fast as possible toward Zara's ship. Behind him, the alien warships had stopped firing. They were confused by the energy readings they were seeing. Jake found Zara in the main cabin. She was on her knees in the center of the room, energy pouring out of her like a storm. Her eyes were closed and tears streamed down her face. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry. I didn't want to hurt anyone else." The metal walls around her were melting. The floor beneath her feet glowed red-hot. Jake could feel the dangerous energy, even through his protective suit. "Zara," he called out. She opened her eyes and saw him. "Jake, get away." "I can't control it. I'm not leaving you. You'll die if you touch me." Jake looked at her beautiful, scared face. He thought about all the people who had abandoned her. All the years she had spent alone. All the pain she had carried. "Maybe," he said, taking off his gloves. "But maybe not." "What are you doing?" Zara screamed as Jake walked closer to the energy storm around her. "Something my grandmother taught me," Jake said. "Sometimes the best way to stop a storm is to walk into it." The energy hit Jake's bare hands like fire. It should have killed him instantly, but something strange happened. Instead of burning him, the energy seemed to change. It became warm instead of deadly. It flowed around him like water instead of lightning. Zara stared in shock. "That's impossible." Jake reached out and touched her glowing cheek with his bare hand. For the first time in her life, Zara's touch didn't bring death. Instead, she felt the most wonderful thing in the universe, human warmth. But their moment was interrupted by a new voice on the communication system. It was cold and ancient. "Interesting," the voice said. "Very interesting indeed." On the main screen, a massive black ship appeared. It was bigger than all the other ships combined. It looked older than time itself. "We have been hunting the weapon girl for a very long time," the ancient voice continued. "And now we see why she is so special." Power and purpose, the ancient black ship moved through space like a shadow of death. It was 10 times bigger than any ship Jake had ever seen. Strange symbols covered its dark surface, glowing with evil light. Jake still held Zara's face in his hands. Her skin was warm now, not burning. Her golden eyes stared at him in wonder. "How?" she whispered. "How are you not dead?" Before Jake could answer, the ancient voice spoke again through the communication system. "Weapon girl," the voice said. "You have hidden from us for too long, but now we see the truth. The humans have awakened your real power." The smaller alien warships that had been attacking Jake's ship suddenly turned and flew away as fast as they could. Even they were afraid of this ancient enemy. "Jake," Officer Chen's voice came through his radio. "What are those ships?" "Our computers can't identify them." Jake helped Zara stand up. Her energy had become calm now, flowing gently under her silver skin instead of exploding everywhere. "I don't know," Jake said into his radio. "But I don't think they're friendly." The ancient voice continued speaking. "Long ago, the Zephyrians created the perfect weapon against us. They mixed their DNA with energy from dying stars. They called their creation Project Startouch." Zara's face went white. "That's not possible. My people told me I was cursed by accident." "Your people lied to you, weapon girl. You were made in a laboratory, made to kill our kind with your touch." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. "She's not a weapon. She's a person." The ancient being laughed. It was a cold, terrible sound. "Person, she was grown in a tank. Her powers were designed to destroy our energy shields and burn our ships from the inside." "No," Zara said, her voice shaking. "No, that's not true. My parents loved me. I had a real childhood. False memories, weapon girl, planted in your mind to make you stable. The Zephyrians wanted their weapon to think it was real." Jake squeezed Zara's hand tighter. "Even if that's true, it doesn't matter. You're real now. You choose who you are." "But the human speaks truth about one thing," the ancient voice said. "You have evolved beyond your creator's plan. Your touch no longer brings only death. With human contact, you can also heal." Zara looked at her hands, then at Jake. "Is that why you didn't die? Because you're human?" "We believe so," the ancient being continued. "Humans were not part of the original war. Your programming did not account for their DNA. They unlock your full potential." Through the ship's windows, they could see the massive black vessel getting closer. Smaller ships began flying out of it like angry insects. Captain Morrison. Dr. Stevens's voice came through the radio. Our sensors show those ships have some kind of energy weapon we've never seen before, and there are hundreds of them. Jake looked at Zara. What do they want? They want me, Zara said sadly. They've been hunting my people for 1,000 years. When the Zephyrians created me, it was to end that war. But the project failed, and they told everyone I was just a mistake. Why did the project fail? Because I was too powerful to control. Every time I tried to use my abilities as a weapon, I would hurt innocent people too, so my creators gave up and hid me away. Jake understood now. But with human help, you can control your power. Yes, Zara said, wonder in her voice. When you touch me, I can focus my energy exactly where I want it to go. I can heal instead of destroy. The ancient voice spoke again, filled with anger. We will not allow this evolution. Give us the weapon, girl human, and we will let your people live. Jake looked out at the hundreds of enemy ships surrounding them. His small rescue vessel couldn't fight them all, but he remembered what his grandfather had taught him during Earth's last war. Sometimes the biggest battles are won not by the strongest fighters, but by people who refuse to give up. Zara, Jake said, can your powers work on their ships? I don't know. I've never tried to heal technology before. What if we don't try to destroy them? What if we try to heal them instead? Zara's eyes grew wide. Heal the enemy, but they want to kill us. First contact fear, the communication screen crackled with static. Then a voice filled with fear spoke through the darkness of space. Warning to all human ships, stay away from Sector 7. The cursed one lives there. Do not go near. Death follows her touch. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge of the rescue ship Hope's Light. His crew looked at each other with worried faces. They had heard stories about Sector 7, but they never thought the stories were real. Sir, said Officer Lisa Chen, her fingers moving over her control panel. We're getting a distress signal from that exact area. Someone needs help. Jake stood up and walked to the main screen. The stars looked the same as always, but something felt different about this part of space. It felt cold and empty. What kind of distress signal? Jake asked. It's weak, sir, very weak. Coming from a small ship. Life signs are strange. Not human, but not like any alien we know either. The bridge became quiet. Everyone waited for Jake's decision. He had been a rescue captain for 10 years. His rule was simple, never leave anyone behind. But this felt different. Sir, said Dr. Mark Stevens, the ship's medical officer, maybe we should call for backup. The warnings about Sector 7 are just stories, Jake interrupted. Someone out there needs help. We don't abandon people because of old tales. Officer Chen looked at her screen again. Sir, the life sign is getting weaker. If someone is alive on that ship, they won't be for much longer. Jake made his choice. Set course for the distress signal. All hands, prepare for rescue mission. The Hope's Light moved through space toward the mysterious signal. As they got closer, they saw something that made everyone hold their breath. A beautiful alien ship floated in the darkness, but it was broken. Parts of it were torn open. Scorch marks covered its silver surface. It looked like it had been in a terrible battle. Scan the ship, Jake ordered. Scanning now, sir, Chen replied. After a moment, she looked up with surprise. Sir, there are several bodies on that ship. All dead, but there's one life sign still active. It's in the main cabin. Just one survivor. Yes, sir. And the readings are unusual. The energy levels around that person are very high. Jake felt his heart beat faster. Maybe the warnings about Sector 7 were not just stories after all. Prepare the rescue pod. I'm going over there. Sir, no. Dr. Stevens stepped forward. Let me go first. If there's something dangerous, I'm the captain. This is my job. Jake looked at his crew. These people trusted him. He had never let them down before. Keep the ship ready. If something goes wrong, leave immediately. We won't leave you, sir, Chen said. Jake smiled. That's an order, Officer Chen. The crew's safety comes first. 20 minutes later, Jake floated through space in his rescue suit. The broken alien ship got bigger and bigger as he moved toward it. Up close, he could see how beautiful it once was. The metal was smooth and covered with strange symbols. He entered through a hole in the ship's side. Inside, the air was still good to breathe. Emergency lights flickered on and off. Jake moved carefully through the empty halls. Then he saw the bodies. 3 alien beings lay on the floor. They were tall and thin with blue skin. Their eyes were wide open, staring at nothing. They looked afraid, even in death. Jake kept moving toward the main cabin. The door was closed, but he could hear something inside. A soft sound like someone crying. He opened the door. What he saw took his breath away. A female alien sat in the corner of the room. She was the most beautiful being Jake had ever seen. Her skin was pale silver and seemed to glow with soft light. Patterns of energy moved under her skin like rivers of stars. Her hair was long and white as moonlight. Her eyes were large and golden, but she looked so scared. When she saw Jake, she moved back against the wall. "Please," she whispered in perfect English. "Don't come closer. I don't want to hurt you too." Jake stopped. He looked around the cabin. Everything metal near her was twisted and melted. The walls had burn marks in the shape of handprints. "You did this?" he asked softly. She nodded, tears falling down her silver cheeks. "I didn't mean to. I never mean to. But everyone who touches me..." She looked at the dead aliens in the hallway. They were my friends. They were taking me home. But then my powers. And they... Jake's heart felt heavy. This beautiful being thought she was a monster. "What's your name?" he asked. "Zara," she whispered. "My name is Zara, but my people call me the Cursed One." Jake took a step closer. Zara's eyes went wide with fear. "No, please. I'll kill you like I killed them." But Jake didn't stop. He reached out his hand toward her. "Please," Zara begged. "Don't be afraid of me like the others." Jake looked into her golden eyes. He saw pain, loneliness, and fear, but he also saw something else. Hope. His hand moved closer to hers. "Don't touch me!" she cried. But Jake Morrison had made his choice. The curse revealed Jake's hand stopped just inches from Zara's glowing skin. Her golden eyes looked up at him with pure terror. "Please don't," she whispered. "I don't want to kill you too." But Jake didn't pull his hand away. Instead, he sat down on the floor in front of her, keeping his distance but showing he wasn't afraid. "Tell me what happened here," he said gently. Zara's voice shook as she began to speak. 3 days ago, my ship was traveling home to my planet. These were my friends." She looked toward the hallway where the dead aliens lay. Kren, Vex, and Mira. They were the only ones who still talked to me. "Why were you going home?" "Because my people finally said I could return. They thought maybe the curse was gone." Fresh tears rolled down her silver cheeks. "But it's not gone. It will never be gone." Jake listened carefully. "What curse? What happened to you?" Zara closed her eyes. When she opened them again, Jake could see years of pain inside them. "I was born different," she said. "When I was a small child, flowers would die when I touched them. Animals would run away from me, but my parents thought it would get better as I grew up." She paused, remembering painful memories. "On my 16th birthday, something changed. My powers became stronger, much stronger. I hugged my little brother to celebrate and..." She couldn't finish the sentence. "He died," Jake asked softly. Zara nodded. "In my arms. The energy in my body burned him from inside. My parents were so afraid. The whole city became afraid. They said I was cursed by the old gods. They said I was punishment for our people's past crimes." Jake felt anger rise in his chest. How could people treat their own child like that? "So they sent you away?" "Yes, I lived alone on a small moon for 8 years. No visitors, no friends, no touch, nothing." Zara's voice became very quiet. "Do you know what it's like to never touch another living thing? To know that your very existence brings death?" Jake thought about his own life. He had family, friends, people who hugged him and shook his hand. He couldn't imagine being alone for so long. "But your friends came to get you. Kren, Vex, and Mira were scientists. They thought they found a cure for my condition. They came to my moon 3 days ago, so happy and excited. They said they could help me control my powers. What went wrong?" Zara's glow became brighter as she remembered. "Everything was fine at first. We were so happy. I thought finally I could go home. But then I got excited and my emotions became strong. My powers started to grow." She looked at her hands. Energy moved under her skin like liquid light. "I tried to control it, but I couldn't. The energy burst out of me. It filled the whole ship." Kren was standing next to me when it happened. He tried to touch my shoulder to calm me down. Jake looked toward the hallway. He could imagine what happened next. The others tried to help him, but they touched me too. One by one, they all... Zara's voice broke. "I killed my only friends in the universe." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Jake could hear only the quiet hum of the ship's emergency power. "That's not your fault," Jake said finally. "Yes, it is." Zara's eyes flashed with anger. "I should have stayed on my moon. I should never have believed I could be normal. You're not a monster, Zara. Look around you. Look at what I do to everyone." The energy under her skin pulsed brighter. "My own people were right to fear me. The universe would be safer if I was dead." Jake felt his heart break for this beautiful, lonely being. "No," he said firmly. "The universe needs people like you. People like me. I'm the only one like me, and I bring nothing but death." Jake stood up slowly. Zara watched him with wide eyes. "My people have a saying," Jake said. "Different doesn't mean dangerous. It just means misunderstood. Your people don't know what I can do." Jake took a small step closer. Zara pressed herself harder against the wall. "Maybe," Jake said. "My people are different too." Before Zara could answer, alarms started screaming throughout the ship. Red lights flashed on and off. Jake's radio crackled to life. "Captain Morrison." Officer Chen's voice was filled with panic. "Sir, we have big problems. 5 alien warships just dropped out of hyperspace. They're surrounding us." Jake grabbed his radio. "What do they want?" "They're demanding we return the cursed one immediately, sir. They say if we don't hand her over in 10 minutes, they'll destroy both ships." Zara's face went white. "They found me," she whispered. "My people sent them to make sure I never come home." Jake looked at Zara, then at his radio. His crew was in danger because of his choice to help her, but he had made a promise to himself long ago. Never abandon someone who needs help.